I have been waiting to talk to you for a long time, Ted, because I've followed you as a conservationist, as a conservative, as a supporter of the First Amendment and constitutionality, through the suffering the slings and arrows of the left, and you always emerge stronger. This new song you have, "Come and Take It," I was looking at the lyrics, and you have Concord Bridge in there. You have "Don't Tread on Me" in there, and I would assume that a lot of young people have no idea what you're talking about, particularly when it comes to Concord Bridge. Talk to me about your new single, and let's move into your defense of the Second Amendment and where we're headed in this country.
Well, the beauty of it, Rob, is I'm an old guy. I'm 74 years old, but I've been clean and sober for 74 years old, so my middle finger still works really efficiently. And nothing the youth of America instinctively understands better than defiance and critical thinking and suspicion of all authority, even though it's been quelled and destroyed by the propaganda ministry and certainly academia and Hollywood and big tech and all the dirtbags out there. But when they witness Uncle Ted spitting fire of truth, logic, and common sense, young people really respond. And if you could hang out with me any given day, anywhere in the world, young people come up to me, and the love, the support, the celebration of my defiance against tyranny and against oppression and the oath-violating punks that infest our government right now. I'm telling you, you follow me and my vapor trail of such positive energy and positive spirit, and especially young people. Of course, next to me at 74, almost everybody qualifies as young. but they understand it. Yes, they were indoctrinated by the propaganda academia, but I didn't go to college, Rob. I was too busy learning stuff. And the stuff I learned is so self-evident. The truth, the logic, the common sense, and the lyrics in that song, and what I've been raising hell about on stage forever, even though obviously I perfected the love song genre, wang dang, sweet poom tang, never giving the credit it deserves. The point is that the piss and vinegar, the energy, my standing up for individual thought, especially my defiance against the political correctness of animal rights and anti-hunting, anti-gun insanity, young people have really responded. I've had a Ted Nugent Camp for Kids charity for 33 years, and we sell out every year in 4 states because moms and dads who were raised on my music, in fact, some of the families bring their children. They were the original children at my Ted Nugent Camp for Kids. So there is not a timeline. There is not an age. There is not a demographic. There's not a color. There's not a race. There's not an ethnicity. Truth, logic, and common sense is readily embraced, even if you've spent your life in the tsunami of lies and dishonesty by the powers that be. So, I can hardly fit my halo through the door. I'm like Mother Teresa with a Glock.
Yeah,
people like it.
Yeah, Ted, I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and I grew up listening to Z92, the home of rock and roll. And Omaha, Nebraska is a massive fan base of yours. I'm sure you know where your fan bases are. But I remember listening to your music and loving your music, and you coming to Omaha and swinging across the stage wearing a friggin' loincloth. And I went, that takes some serious balls. So I've had a love affair with your music forever, my friend, and you're still cranking it out. I want to bring something up. I've been dying to ask you, for years. I saw a remarkable piece of television that you did a few years ago with a man who is no longer with us, and his name was Anthony Bourdain. And you invited this left-leaning New York lib to come out and hang out with you. And I got to tell you, that was one of the best pieces of television. I really thought you opened up. I really thought you changed it, because he had his guard up so hard against you, and you had him out to your place. Could you just talk to me quickly about that appearance on Anthony Bourdain's show?
Well, your comments and your referencing to that moment is, once again, I hear it all the time, because, he was ultra-left, he was kind of a doper, he came from an ultra-liberal / communist, zone, and he saw that I was at least interesting. At least my middle finger on fire, my A10 warthog of individualism, he thought, well, I don't agree with everything, but this guy's interesting. And here's where it ends. Truth, logic, and common sense if you come in with an open mind and a positive attitude and respect for other people's positions, Anthony and I became friends.
Wow.
He just happened to show up on a day that I do what the Nugent family does throughout the year. We were hosting a U.S. military veteran barbecue and shoot fest and fishing orgy. Just a great outdoor spirit of the wild experience. And Anthony fit right in, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows that the ultimate foundation of the greatest diet and meal in the world starts with wild game. Everybody knows that, unless, once again, you're a Timothy Leary, Michael Moore fan club guy. And we became friends, and we communicated right up to a few days before he died.
Wow.
Because I cherish my palate. I currently, as I'm speaking with you, Rob, I have an erect palate because I had venison for breakfast. And Anthony liked, who doesn't like real cockiness? Who doesn't like comedy? Who doesn't like humor? Who doesn't like irreverence? Who doesn't like independence? And that really describes Anthony Bourdain and Ted Nugent and a bunch of lefties and a bunch of righties. It really is a universal language of individualism and independence. And I think you hit it right on the head, which many, many people have done. You go to my website and my Facebook and my social media stuff, and I hear that all the time, that music, number one, is the universal communication. And I mean, I am militant, clean and sober, but Keith Richards is my hero. Stop and figure. So again, real honest tolerance, real honest support for individual thought and ideology is alive and well. But if you're under the blanket of the ultra-liberal mouthpieces out there, which are just ubiquitous, you wouldn't know that Ted Nugent gets along with Keith Richards. I spent the weekend with Keith Richards at Studio 54, Rob. You want to hear some adventure. So, we got along great, and that's a perfect example. If you're kind and thoughtful and considerate, you'll get along just fine.
Yeah, I have to ask you this because my producer Ken and I had a debate, and I'm sure you've covered this before in a myriad of ways, Ted, but what is cat scratch fever about officially?
Well, at the time, I didn't know there was such a thing, but my wife at the time had bought this old medical book from some yard sale, I think it was, and it was a big hardcover giant book. And I just opened it up, and of course, I write music. I unleash the licks and grooves. I'm like a Motown funk brother with a machine gun. And I opened the book up, and at the top of the page said cat scratch fever. I'd never heard it before, and I just went about my business. I went out and I probably cleaned a gun and shot a squirrel. And then I got on stage that night, and I was playing. And honky tonk is always the foundation of the best songs in the world. Well, that had the guy when you play big cat like a Detroit guitar player. And I remembered the phrase, cat scratch fever. And, of course, then I just went on a tirade of doing a parallel between maybe a real disease and the one that I preferred.
So now cat scratch fever is a disease.
Yep, and I've heard from everybody who's had it.
Dude, so this is it's a sexually transmitted disease. Is that what?
No, I don't think it's a cat transmitter. You actually get it from cats when you get cat.
Okay, so it's not. I thought it was my producer thought it was some sort of a venereal disease. So it's just a disease you can get from a cat.
I like your producer, by the way. Good thinking. But gun control is one thing only. Never cover anything you're not willing to destroy with the muzzle. That's the only gun law in the Nugent family and all conscientious, law-abiding families of America.
Ted Nugent,
so we will not give up our guns. I like my guns.
God bless you, brother. We've got to go. The new single is called Come and Take It. Are you going to be touring anytime soon? Because, man, if you come to Kansas City, I am so there.
I got the best band in the world, Jason Hartless on drums, Greg Smith on bass guitar. I have a Ted Nugent Real America voice spirit campfire. My wife does too. We're busy, but this summer we're going to unleash the Motown rhythm and blues outrage.
I'm there, bro. It has been a blessing and just an honor to have you on, my friend. I've been a big fan for a very long time, growing up in Omaha, Nebraska. God bless you, and I hope you'll come back on the show sometime soon.
Rob, thank you, man. Godspeed. Happy summertime, almost.
All right, buddy. Take care. Ted Nugent, let's take a break. You are listening to The Rob Carson Show.